This is the first shoe from Jordan brand that I have absolutely loved playing in since the Air Jordan 28. Yeah, it's been a while. What's good, guys? This is Nightwing2303 from WearTesters.com. Today we got the performance review on these bad boys right here. This is the Jordan Why Not Zer0.1. And with that being said, let's go ahead, get right into it. So the traction on these guys I thought was awesome. I only slipped once and it was on my very last time playing in them. The court that I was playing on was the worst kept court that I do play on, or the surface or the finish just needs to be redone. Every other floor that I played on these, I have stuck like glue, even when dust is present. Now the traction pattern here is made up of a bunch of little nubs or grooves, so when there is a ton of dust present, they do get clogged up. When that happens, I just quickly wipe it away and I'm pretty much set and good to go. I will say that for my first like half a week of playing in these guys, I never even had to wipe the shoe, which I thought was crazy, and mostly because the shoe features translucent rubber, which I typically hate. So I can only imagine how awesome the solid rubber versions of this shoe will play on all court conditions, because if the translucent outsole treated me this right, I mean, come on, man. The solid rubber ones have got to be beasts. Now the cushion featured on the Why Not Zer0.1 is full length Zoom Air. However, it is bottom loaded. Typically when bottom loaded Zoom is implemented, the wearer can't feel it as much as it would be if it was directly underfoot. Now that is true for half of this shoe. This back half right here, you can't feel the Zoom, at least I can't. It feels comfortable in there, don't get me wrong. The step and comfort of the shoe is also really nice as well, but I just couldn't feel any of the Zoom in the heel portion of the shoe at all. Luckily, I don't really play on my heel, so that wasn't a big deal. I do play on my forefoot a lot though, and that is where I was able to feel the Zoom Air, which I thought was actually surprising, seeing as how much bounce I was able to actually feel in these. I think the reason being is that the midsole in the forefoot is cut down quite a bit, so there's very little file on between your foot and the Zoom unit. So when you sit there and you bounce on your toes a little bit, you can definitely feel the Zoom Air in here, and it feels awesome. Not only can you feel it while you're bouncing on it, but while you're in motion, that's where it becomes most present. And the thing that I love about this implementation of the Zoom Air, being that it is bottom loaded but still poured out to the point to where you can feel it a little bit, is that you're not sacrificing an ounce of stability, but you're still retaining all of the awesomeness that is Zoom Air. Now the materials, not my favorite. Right off the bat, I'm gonna let you guys know, most of you already do know, I'm not a fan of plastic stuff on my shoes. This shoe is primarily plastic. Underneath it is some nice stuff. It's a mesh, basic mesh, but it still feels nice. However, I will say that what they did do with this, they just made it to where it conforms around your foot so nicely that even though I do not like plastic, I like the way that this one feels. And I will say that this feels less plasticky and it just feels more like a vinyl. So it doesn't feel stiff like a fuse would. It feels kind of like a synthetic leather. Now one plus from having materials like this is that this stuff is just durable, man. It's durable as hell. Even with all these graphics on here, I think there's a couple of scuffs. I don't even know if that was already part of the print or not. I couldn't tell you. There's so much going on with the print on these. It's just wild. But looking at both pairs, I mean, usually my uppers get chewed up on my shoes, but these look pristine. They look the same as when I pulled them out the box the very first day. Another bonus that is actually performance oriented is the fact that this material stretches very little. Now if you're very forefoot heavy, this is going to be an ideal setup for you, as it was made to contain your foot. As you guys can see here, Russ is very forefoot heavy. He's a very strong athlete. Not only is he big, he's powerful, and while it doesn't quite look like this material is covering him from a containment standpoint as nice as maybe it should have, just imagine if that wasn't this material and if it was a knit. The dude would be busting out of his shoes right now. And that's what I'm talking about with this material right here. This stuff is strong as hell, and that's exactly why it's there. So even though I don't like it, it has its purpose. Now as far as the overall fit, I would recommend going true to size. I've heard some people say they run a little bit long, some people say they run a little bit big. I'll say that they run really, really tight, but that's from like this angle right here. It's not from the length. I think that the length for me is just perfect. So what I would recommend is going true to size. If you ever question your sizes, go with whatever you normally wear in that brand's shoe. So if you normally rock a size 11 in Air Jordans, then that's what I would recommend going with these guys. Now the fit is actually my favorite part about the shoe itself. When I slide my foot in these, it feels like it's bear hugging them. It just, I don't know how else to explain it. It just feels like the best hug in the whole world. It's like these things love your feet. It's crazy. The funny part is that I barely even lace these things up. I normally pull the most right here at the collar area, and somehow it just kind of automatically cinches the lacing structure that's underneath this little overlay to a point to where they just feel like they were made custom for my foot. It is the best feeling ever to have a sneaker feel like they were made for you, especially when they they weren't, because we know damn well these weren't made for me, but they sure as hell feel like it. This strap right here, I think that the shoe could have done with or without it. It didn't make a big deal to me. I mostly used it to cover up the laces and keep them out of the way, because the lacing here is super long. I can triple knot these things and those little bunny ear things will still be dangling so far that I feel like I'm gonna trip over myself. So I mostly use the strap to keep those out of the way. And then the back section of the shoe here is so heavily padded and sculpted that it just sucks your heel in. So like I said, the best way for me to describe the fit and lockdown of the shoe just feels like one hell of a bear hug. Like you have not seen this person in so long that they're just like crushing your bones in a good way. Now pretty much everything that we talked about before all plays into the support of the shoe. Surprisingly enough, there is no midfoot shank or torsional shank in here, but I never found it to be a problem. I think it's because the midsole tooling is so thick and chunky, it kind of acts like its own torsional support. This shoe right here, you can't bend it in certain ways, you know what I'm saying? Like you get flex at the forefoot, but that's pretty much it. Everything else from there back, very rigid and supportive, so there probably was no need for an actual plate there. The midsole right here is the outrigger. Not only is it the forefoot outrigger, but it extends all the way to the middle of the midfoot. You can kind of see that right there. It's almost impossible to roll your ankle in these things. I've landed on quite a few people's feet in many different shoes, and almost every time I roll over. This time though I didn't, thank goodness. I don't know if it was just because I was anticipating it or not, because like I said, it happens all the time. I tweak my ankles at least once a week, all because people don't give me enough space to shoot. They try to close out and they zaza pachulia my ass. It's crazy. But like I was saying, the lateral support or stability on these guys due to this big beefy midsole that is also the outrigger just feels fantastic. And then this big black section right here is actually Phylon foam. This acts as the heel counter. It's one of the strongest heel counters I've ever had. And the funny thing is that it's not made out of plastic, it's made out of foam. So it's just kind of weird that it's that strong, even though it is just a typical average foam. And like I said, this whole area just feels like it really sucks your foot into the back of the shoe, so there's no heel containment or slipping issues whatsoever. You can see that because it wraps all the way down to the bottom of the shoe, that there's no way for your ankle to go over the footbed. That's what actual ankle support is. It's keeping your foot on the footbed. It has nothing to do with the collar height of the shoe, it has everything to do with lockdown and containment. And these guys excel at that perfectly. And then the bottom of the shoe is super flat, super stable, extra wide on top of that. Absolutely love it. These things are fantastic. Even though they are on the heavier side, for whatever reason when they're on foot, they do not feel like it. They feel like a complete extension of your foot, which is exactly how a performance shoe should feel, especially nowadays. So that pretty much takes care of it for the Jordan Why Not Zer0.1. One hell of a sneaker. I cannot believe that something that looks like this, that looks big and bulky, especially on your foot, doesn't play that way. It plays awesome. It's got everything you need and then some, all for 120 bucks. Highly recommend these shoes. Like I said, I haven't loved an Air Jordan shoe to play in this much since the Air Jordan 28. At this point, I don't even want to play in anything else. I just want to play in these. I just feel very comfortable in these, very secure. I got great traction, all that kind of good stuff. Fantastic sneaker. Fantastic sneaker. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. If you want any more information, you can always go to WearTesters.com, where they got their price, their weight, and their score. This colorway is long gone, but more colorways will be available soon over at eastbay.com for anybody that is interested, and a link will be in the description box for that as well. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support. Let me know what you guys think about these down below in the comment section. Have you played in a pair? If not, why not? But like I said, if you have, let us know down below your thoughts on them. What are your favorite parts of the shoe? Like I said, mine's the fit. Maybe yours is different. I don't know. But sound off below. Let us know. Thank you guys once again. And until next time, guys, have a good one.